Now, before our recording today,
Yeah.
I was kind of just reflecting on some conversations you and I have had
Good.
and what we haven't talked about.
Yeah, let's do it.
And one of the few things that have been coming up is really the recent discoveries in like microbial life and the developments of cameras and photography within microbial life and how it's getting so proficient into how we see these different worlds like that are at our on our literal fingertips every day, all the time, that we have no understanding about, and how if we're able to zoom out on a macro level, we're able to see, different like universal firmaments and like where they end and where they begin, like boundaries. Where does the frontier of the meaning of life begin and end,
So
And
we could be someone's hair stubble for all we know.
For all we know. And so, I'm just curious, like how you've been responding to these, these tetrograde, right? Is that right, Nacho? Tetrograde? Something like the tetrograde is the microbial animal that can survive in a volcano, the bottom of the ocean, and in outer space. And it looks like a bear tied up in like cushions, like a Michelin Man. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
So they found this new amazing life form.
Wow.
Called the tetrograde, and they call it the something bear, the snow bear maybe.
Snow bear.
Because it looks like a bear. It looks like a bear in a hazmat suit.
Klondike bar or Coca-Cola bear?
Yeah, right. Probably neither. I mean, it does look like if a pig or a polar bear was in a hazmat suit.
Oh,
That's
wow.
how it looks. And water bear. That's what it's called. Yeah, water
bear.
And it can survive in outer space, in the bottom of the ocean, and in a volcano. In the most like extreme example. So what's my point? What am I getting to? The point is that as we're expanding into this new idea of the world, where we're sending satellites, the Cassini satellite to try to find water in different Saturn moons. We're discovering all of these little microbial life forms. We're broadening out into outer space. What kind of like philosophical ahas, some eureka moments, do you think is pending on what the meaning of life is, right? Where does life end? Where does life begin? And what's our role in it? Do you think it's getting to a point where we are entering a new biosphere of philosophical understanding with what the meaning of life is?
So I think I've mentioned this to you before. If you watch any science fiction movie and the aliens come down from space, right? The spaceship lands and the aliens get out. They all are from the same planet. They all speak the same language, and they're all in lockstep. They're all They're on the same page, right? Right. And when it comes to like space exploration, I think Earth needs the equivalent of that. We all, as human beings, we need to start looking at ourselves as Earthlings. I think when I think of other planets and other distant places, I'm like, what's the implication for this? Now, obviously, it has a different implication for Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? He's like, the cosmos and the cluster galaxy or whatever it is. I'm not a science guy, in case anyone hasn't realized. But when I see all of these other planets, I say to myself, if all these other planets are out there and they have other life forms and so forth, we need to start acting like Earthlings. We need to get our act together, and we need to start becoming a unified planet. And I think that the only way that we can take ourselves seriously is if we have our act together and we're acting as a unified planet. Because I can't imagine any scientific, in Star Trek or any kind of science fiction context, Earth is always a planet within itself. It's like the planet Earth is within the Galactic Senate or something, right? It's not like, this is East Earth and this is West Earth, or right, or East Mars and West Mars, right? Like it's a unified thing. So every time we further out into the solar system, I always say to myself, what are we doing to become a unified planet? Because I think before we even can think about conquering other planets, this planet needs to be rock solid. We need to be all seeing each other as human beings, and if we're not seeing each other as human beings, if we can't have order on this planet, we're only bringing chaos and destruction to whatever planet we visit.
What do you think would be our biggest export? Like not on a material level, but on a cultural level? Like if...
To an alien?
Yeah.
What could we teach an alien, man? We could teach them how to screw up in some... I feel like there's so many ways that we could teach them. if aliens are watching us, there's so many we should not do that moments, right? There's like so many moments where they're looking at us. Like that's something not to do. So I think we can use that as a guide though, and say, what would we bring to the table, right?
Right.
I think there's this idea that like, and I think we talked about this before, that if like people are like, why don't the aliens come out? Why don't they just come out and announce themselves and land in DC?
Yeah.
And I think the aliens realize we're not ready for it. They know, if they do exist, I think as a species, we haven't gone to that level of knowing what it is to like sacrifice yourself in some way for some kind of larger good. Because I think that, other planets or other ecosystems, I'm sorry, my science vocabulary is very low in this area, but I think that in order to colonize other planets or do any of this other stuff, there's a certain collective common mission that they have. Like aliens have a sense of purpose. You know what I mean? Like to build a ship and develop light speed, they have to have a solid sense of purpose. And that's something that we don't have a collective purpose yet.